Article 19 guarantees every citizen of India the following six fundamental freedom: freedom of speech and expression, freedom of assembly, freedom to form association, freedom of movement, freedom of residence and settlement, freedom of profession, occupation, trade, and business. Right to freedom is the lifeblood of democracy. Under Article 19, everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. It comes with safeguard outlined in the Constitution. This means that one can express one's own opinion freely in words, mouth, writing, printing, pictures, or in any other mode. But this right is not absolute, as everyone has to respect the other's freedom also. Our government imposes restrictions on our freedom in the interest of the society. These restrictions are in the form of duties of every citizen of India. For example, one cannot instigate violence or rebel against the government or defame others by saying false things. Right to assemble in a peaceful manner is another fundamental freedom, but such meeting has to be peaceful and should not carry any public disorder. To form association and union is another fundamental freedom, but people should not carry weapons with them. To reside in any part of the country where no person shall be deprived of his personal liberty except according to the procedures established by the law. For example, before the abolition of Article 370, one cannot move to reside in the parts of Jammu and Kashmir as prescribed by the law. Move freely throughout the country is another fundamental freedom, but he has to follow the procedures established by the law. For example, one cannot move freely to the borders of the country unless and until he has taken permission from the government. Practice any profession except those professions that are declared illegal by the government. Right against exploitation is another fundamental right, which included traffic in human beings, prohibition of forced labor or begar, and child prohibition of child labor. Article 23 prohibits traffic in human beings. This means that that trade for human being in terms of money is strictly prohibited. Article also prohibits forced labor and begars, where people are forced to work with meager salary or no salary at all. Therefore, our government fixes the salary of the laborers the minimum salary of the laborers to in order to prohibit the labor forced forced labor of human where human beings are forced to work in the fields for no salary at all. Article 24 also prohibits child labor where children are forced to work in in the factories like cracker factory, BD making factory, where they are denied of the opportunity of education. Therefore, Article 24 prohibits child labor where no child below the age of 14 shall be employed. Right to freedom of religion. Right to freedom of religion is another fundamental right under Article 25, where one is free to profess, practice, or propagate its own religion and manage its own religion. But this right is also not absolute. Article 26 gives us freedom to manage our religious affairs. Article 27 prohibits taxes on religious ground. But this right also comes with duties, as this right does not compel the other person to convert into any other religion. A person is free to manage or change his or her religion of his own will. Sacrifice of human beings and animals as offerings to supernatural forces or God are strictly prohibited. Cultural and educational rights. Cultural and educational rights is another fundamental right where basic tradition of Indian culture and language can be conserved. Admission to any educational institution mentioned maintained by the government shall be obtained to all. But this right also comes with fundamental duties in order to observe and contain the basic norms and conduct of democratic behavior, because rights and duties are interrelated. Article 51A, Part 4A of the Constitution are defined as the moral obligation of all the citizens to help and promote the spirit of patriotism and uphold the unity of India. Though these rights are like directive principles, they are not enforceable by court unless they are made enforceable by parliamentary law. These fundamental duties were added in Indian Constitution by 42nd Amendment. Respect for national symbol of India, including the Constitution, the national flag, and the national anthem. To preserve its composite culture and assist for its defense. To defend the country and render national service when called upon to develop scientific temper of humanism and reform, and create a spirit of inquiry to safeguard public property and abjure violence, to protect and improve the natural environment that which included forest, lake, river, wildlife, and have compassion to living creatures, to uphold and protect the sovereignty and the integrity of India, and to provide opportunities of education to his child between 6 to 14 years. These fundamental duties not only serve as a source of inspiration to all the citizens to promote a sense of discipline and commitment among them, but also create a feeling that citizens are not merely the spectator but also active participant in the realization of national goal. Article right to constitutional remedies. If under this right, if any person finds that his rights are being violated, he can directly approach to the Supreme Court or the High Court of the state. The court can issue directions or writs for the protection of their rights. These writs can be of various forms. Under Article 32, we have the right to move to the Supreme Court in the violation, in case of violation, so called the heart, soul and heart of the Constitution by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. To enforce the fundamental rights, the Supreme Court is empowered under Article 32 to issue writs in various forms. These writs can be of habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari, prohibition. Habeas corpus literally means to have a body, which implies that a person imprisoned or detained by law can inquire under what circumstances he had been imprisoned or detained. Mandamus literally means command issued by the government to the public authority to forbear to do something which is in nature of law and natural justice. Quo warranto is an order issued by the court to prevent a person from holding the office which he is not entitled to. Certiorari is a writ or order for the removal of suit from an interior court to the superior court for speedy justice. Prohibition by the higher court to stop the proceedings of the lower court on the ground of overstepping the jurisdiction or in the isolation of natural justice. Not only this, PIL, that is public interest litigation, where a person can or citizens can approach to the Supreme Court or the High Court for the protection of public interest against the government. One can write to the judges of in postcard even. National Human Rights Commission was appointed by the President, which included retired judges, officers, and eminent citizens to help the victims to secure human rights. Therefore, we saw that fundamental rights are not merely a democratic right of the citizen, but these rights are above the democracy, where people can approach to the Supreme Court against the government in violation of these rights against the government or any other institutions.